Hey, here's a thing. You can't hear me. You can hear me. You can't see me yet. If somebody can guess what the tone woods of this guitar that I'm playing are, I will give you a free admission to the Guitar Hunter course to write guitars faster. That's $150 that I will give you if you can bet what are the tone woods. I want at least top and back. It is unusual. Not unusual, it is unheard of. This might be the hardest challenge I've ever put out. All right, I'm going to look at the comments, and I'll turn this off here in 1 second. Give me a guess on what guitar you think this is. That's Jonathan Woods in there. Jonathan! Just the title screen, I know. I'm coming right now. All right, here is the guitar. Bada bing, bada boom. Look at that thing. How cool is that? This is a Showalter. And what tone woods are these? So, let's see if anybody gets this. All right. Let's see. So, yeah, I was hoping we get to do one live stream. I wasn't sure. Today is actually my wedding anniversary. So after this, I'm done. And then we're out. Yeah, how does it sound? Jonathan, yeah. So I was keeping the title up because I asked a question about this guitar. T-Mass from Franklin. I was just in Franklin, Tennessee like 4 days ago. I love Franklin. It'd be fun to live in Franklin, I think. T-Mass bid on a Favilla F6 on the Goodwill bid site. Oh my gosh, that's great. I just sold the one that I had an F5. Right? Yeah, I had an F5 that sold for $900. So anyway, somebody's calling me. Who is? I gotta turn my phone on Do Not Disturb. Do not disturb. Do not pester. Daniel. So this guitar is a Sycamore top, and it is a white oak back and sides. This is a Showalter Dreadnought. This is serial number 83, made in 2020. And Daniel, I'm gonna say you got it. Yeah, that's the closest that anybody. So it's not cedar and walnut. It's not cherry. Yes. So anyway. So this is a guitar I'm going to do a couple shootouts. I have 3 Showalter guitars. We'll film 2 shootout videos next week. And those will come out probably the week after next. But anyway, yes. So Daniel, that means that you won. And so I'm going to give you a free admission to the course to write guitars faster. Let me come over here. Boom! To that! Write guitars faster. We'll talk about this throughout the class, or throughout the live show today. I mean, this is the thing I'm probably the most proud of making this year. It's an incredible class. It's 19 videos. It's like 6 hours. You could do it in a day if you have a full day by yourself. You could do it in a couple days or a week. And then when you're done, if you opt, there's an option that you can get a call with me, and then we'll kind of debrief and walk through stuff. But David, send me I have your info because you're in here. You're in the thing today, but just in case, send me an email reminding me that you won the giveaway today for the course. Anyone else? So if you would like to get into write guitars faster, go to the link just in the description down below. This is a crazy combo. There's no chance. I've only seen a couple guitars with Sycamore ever. Like Martin has, there's one that people have talked about before. It's like the American one or something. And that one's a Sycamore back and sides. This one's a Sycamore top. And then the back and sides are just really cool, ribbony. I'll show it so you can show it. If this was spruce, you'd call it bear claw. It's got this like striation stuff over here. Anyway, Daniel, congratulations, man. Great. Good ear. Also, here's a great question from West Coast Ray, which I want to talk about this question a whole lot more, which is why do boutique guitars lose so much on after their initial purchase? That's a really good question, and I want to commit a ton of time to answering that question. I think my initial response to that is it's such a limited audience, and people are concerned about buying guitars without a warranty, and if they don't have a good repair, so they're concerned. I think the concern is I didn't buy the guitar from the small builder. That small builder may not last. They may not support it. It might not be that great. I think it's just the amount of audience. Like there's so few people that want that guitar. Now the thing is, if you are clever, you can find those guitars. Like I found my Husson Dalton TDM for $2,000. This is a $4,400 guitar, and I got this one for $2,000. Because I just was searching out. So if you're in that audience, if you're looking for a boutique guitar, so there are certain brands that have started losing a lot less. Like think about Collings, even though Collings is not really a boutique builder anymore because they're so big. But you now have large Facebook groups and you have large groups around it. Because there isn't that much community, the prices drop real fast. The thing is, they only drop in value if people take that lower price. So if you buy one of those guitars and you just hang on to it, like if you hang out there, you could get $4,000 back out of, like one of those, especially if they're super clean. But anyway, that's a great question. All right, Sonia. Hey guys, happy anniversary. Thank you. Yes, today's 10 years. I've been married for 10 years today. And that's very exciting. So Daniel won. Exciting day. Yeah, man, for sure. Anyway, yeah, this is a cool looking guitar. So I'll talk more about this later. This guitar is 3 unusual woods that I've never seen on a guitar, and it surprisingly sounds really good. So the easy one is the ebony bridge and fingerboard, but then is where it gets weird. Sycamore top, white oak back and sides, and then this is a butternut neck, and it's a big neck. This is it's kind of a V shape. It's like a pear shape. Like you can feel kind of a ridge on the back of the V, but then it like is very round on the sides. So, nope, can't play that. It is funny when I hang out with people and I play. There's all kinds of music I can play that I can't ever play on YouTube. Anyway, let me put this thing back, and where did I put this? Oh, it was just sitting here on the case. Okay. There are a couple additions to the studio this week. Well, 3 additions. Let's talk about one. My friend Craig and a patron, which the live shows are brought to you by my patrons. It is an amazing act of kindness that they do. So Craig, he's been a ride or die patron for a long time. He's at $30 a month, and he's a trusted friend, and he has a really great ear for good microphones and good production value. So he always wants me to kind of be able to kick up stuff to the next level. So the first thing he did was he got us this Aston Origin. This is a wonderful mic. It sounds killer. Tell me how it sounds to your ears coming through here. So basically the signal path, this mic is going into my Universal Audio Apollo. And then there's a compressor and a limiter there's a preamp. There's a Neve 1187 and then a compressor on there. So that's where this is crispy audio. Sounds great. The other one is up here. This is my little toy battle axe. So I asked my family for Christmas, because we have a bunch of siblings, so we always just kind of break it up and do Kris Kringle. And so this year I said, whoever gets me, I want a film accurate Gimli battle axe from Fellowship of the Ring, which is not, I don't actually want. I would be super excited if I got that. But it was just kind of a joke. Like, I just don't know. Like, we pretty much I have everything I need. I have more than I need. And so I did think, like, things that would be cool. So one of the things was this new ring. This is a cool turquoise. I doubt it's going to focus because it's told to look at my face. But I got this really cool turquoise ring. Very cool. My father-in-law got this for me. Actually, let's be honest, my mother-in-law got this. And my father-in-law was just as surprised as I was when his present to me opened up. And, but yeah, so up here, the Gimli Battle Axe. So they got me Battle Axe. They also got me, like a really cool, if you watch those, Diane Zioke, the Chinese cooking videos, she has a giant, like, Chinese cleaver. So I got one of those, which is amazing. Almost cut my finger off with it yesterday. First day using it, and it's amazing. So then the other one, my wife got me this amazing Virginia pennant with the cardinal, and that's been made by my friend Jeff, who also prints all of the Guitar Hunter t-shirts. And my wife gets me. She knows me, and it was awesome. So those are I said there were 3 things. There are like 4 things. I mean, realistically, there's another Showalter guitar back here. There's a Furch guitar. If you're a patron, you'll get to see this video later today. And there's I got to travel. It's not Furch, it's Furk guitars. Got to go check out Furk's guitars last week, and it was so fun. And yeah, Gabe's here. Gabe knows Mr. Jeff Cragg himself. Yeah, Jeff is amazing, and he's just a brilliant creative here in the Valley. Prints my t-shirts, and anyway, so Gabe, Mr. G Gear man himself here. So Gabe has a new channel. Check out his channel, and your guitars are in here. I'll talk about your guitars here in a little bit, and some Cower guitars. But yeah, so Happy New Year to you and the family. The only guitars I have with unique wood are the Cower, the Corona, and the Electroliner with Wingay fretboards. Dude, that's awesome. I think the tone is mostly from the roasted maple necks, of course. Not much of a believer in fretboard wood effects tone. I'm pretty much with you, but I did have that. I never filmed the video. I had those 2 identical, or like nearly identical, American Pro 2 Strats. Miami Blue, alder bodies, one with a maple fretboard, one with a rosewood. I ended up keeping the rosewood for a bunch of reasons. I'm super nostalgic, and I liked that was the first one. That was the guitar that Fender gave me in the first sponsored demo video that I did. So I hung on to that one. It's back here, back behind me. But yeah, they definitely did sound different. So anyway, John says, looking great, Jerry. Thanks. 40 Watt, Mr. Phillip himself is here. I love Cower guitars. I want a Banshee so bad. Me too. Dude, the dudes from Cower guitars are so kind. And I would love to own one of their guitars. It is funny, my electric guitar stuff is getting way less juice these days. Like when I talk about electric guitars on YouTube, those videos never break out of a couple thousand views. So who knows? I think there are a ton of electric guitar channels, and my perspective is pretty unique in being more about acoustic guitars. Anyway, who else brought this video to you? There's some really exciting stuff coming from Gallagher Guitars. So I'm going to be doing some marketing work with Gallagher. So it'll be freelance marketing work, and I'll be helping out with their social media. I'll be helping out with some events. There's a bunch of stuff coming up about that. Here comes. Yeah, Philip says, I think you've become a hardcore acoustic guy, which that's fine. It makes me sad. I love electric guitars, and I'm kind of rethinking. So I had an idea. I'm going to relaunch the Dream Guitar Challenge next year, next week. And so I want to start with some money, and I want to buy and sell guitars. That'll give me some cool, recurring content for vloggy stuff, which is really fun to make. But it will also allow me to kind of finish a thing that I didn't get to finish that well a couple years ago. But what I was thinking was I would love to set the goal of a Frank Brothers, either Frank Brothers or a Novo. Those are the 2 guitars that kind of speak to me and I would really be interested in. But I don't think it's going to happen. Anyway. Oh, you like my hat? Dude, this thing's awesome. I love this hat. I have a couple, I'm leaning into, just do the things that make me feel good and happy and excited. Yeah, don't play it safe. So anyway, have you heard of Cotton Guitars out of Grayson, Kentucky? If not, you should try and get your hands on one. And HN. an amazing luthier. He's an amazing. Anyway, that's awesome. I'll check him out. So I'm starting to kind of plan out, dream out some road trips. My first. Oh man. Oh my gosh. I just had an idea. In order for me to get out and about, I need to get a better car. Because like my Subaru has stopped charging the alternator, so my battery it's basically a Tesla. It is battery powered until the engine will run until the battery dies. So, what if I bought and sold guitars to snowball money to buy a car, and then when I get the car, I then do a road trip to do a bunch of guitar shops? That's a good idea. I'll have to remember that. T-Maz just visited Gallagher Guitars about 3 weeks ago. Got the full tour and played some he had available. That's cool. I'm sure it was David that showed you around. It was so cool. Hector says, I have an electric question. Should I stay away from 70s and 80s Strats? No. 70s Strats are most notably really heavy, and they have a 3-bolt neck, and 3-bolt necks are a little, they're fine. You can deal with them, but basically because it's 3 points, and so the neck can wiggle more, and that makes them a little, they're not bad, but they're just a little inconsistent. The other one is they started having micro tilt in the 70s, and some of those, if they were cranked up and then screwed down too tight, you could have what they call a ski jump in the fretboard, but it's a fairly unusual problem to have happen. But anyway, 70s are cool. They're incredibly heavy, and the finishes become polyurethane. And with those, they're very cool. I think 70, like the S9, which basically they use the S9 serial number from like 79 all the way through to 81. So there's a whole ton of S9 serial numbers that are actually like either 80 or 81. But they're cool. They're really fun sounding guitars, and they're cool and mojo-y, and they're very much of their time. And then you get into what are the Smith Strats? Are those 81, 82, 83, somewhere in there? Are the Smith Strats that are volume and tone, and then they don't have the input jack on the top, the output jack on the top. They have the output jack where the second tone would be. So anyway, Gabe says a lot of people love 70s Strats, plenty of mojo, which may be most mental, but they are mad heavy. They really are. They're so heavy. Guys, Driftwood guitars. So Chris and I were texting, a couple days ago. So Chris and I are working on a video that we're going to put out. We're going to film hopefully next week or the week after, and then it'll be out. And then I'm going to go down to Freeport, Texas. Nope, Freeport. They're not in Freeport, Texas. They're in Freeport, Florida. So I'm going to go hang out with those guys. And if you do road trip, I bet patrons or subscribers will have some really cool guitars you could work into making videos. That's a great idea. Yeah, I'm working on figuring out how to do it. Right now, like, we're coming out of a season of, like, I have made so little money the last 3 years, and the way that we had some unfortunate drama happen a couple years ago with a car. Bought a car, had it fixed at a mechanic shop. The mechanic didn't fix it. They took the oil out, didn't put oil back in it. I drove it. It seized the engine. The engine blew up. It was a Ford Explorer, but it wasn't, like, it had a 5.0 in it, or a 4.6 V8. Anyway, long story short, had to, like, sue the place, and they went out of business, and they were an LLC, so they had no liability, and it was awful. And so since then, that's when I had to buy a $900 Subaru, which was just in crisis mode. I need something to get me back and forth to work. And so that's where this little, like, 97 Subaru Legacy Outback that I have. But anyway, yes. So I'm starting to figure out how to, like, get it back out. Matt, hey, buddy. And then Smith Strats are 81 to 83. That's what I thought. Gunnerman says, not much of an acoustic guy. I'm an acoustic guy. I love electrics. That's awesome. I'm glad you're here. I'm on the other side. Like, I love electric guitars, and I lose sleep over acoustic guitars. If you want to know, bro, go to Mule out of South Dakota. I love Mule. I would lose my mind. That should be my dream guitar. I just need to keep doing the Dream Guitar Challenge over and over and over until I get all of my archetypes covered, all of my corners covered. So today we're going to talk about you. We're going to celebrate your guitar collections. We're going to celebrate the year 2021 and how many of you did incredible work to gain guitars that that represent you, that work together as a guitar system, that work together as a collection that sets you up to play out and make a ton of music. And yeah. Philip, you and me both. Let's go halvesies. You and I can trade, a couple months, a couple weekends. Every other weekend, I'll have it. Or will you play out more than I do? You can have it on the weekends. I'll keep it on the weekdays. But anyway, cool. Well, you guys have done incredible work. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to pull out guitars that I think are amazing. There were a ton of these, so we're going to work through them. And I get it that we've talked for 20 minutes already. But anyway, the first one is Terry Massey's Gibson L Double O. This is a custom shop Mystic Rosewood. This guitar is freaking insane. He sent me this one in August, which is the last time we've done one of these like rate your gear guitars. But this is astounding. This is a really, really good guitar. And L Double O's have slept for a long time. They're originally from the 30s, and they were always kind of a really well-kept secret. Then, in the 80s, 90s, is when they really started being discovered again. I remember, who was it? Johnny Lang had an L Double O, like, way back. I remember seeing him in magazines, like, in the late 90s. He was playing a lot of L Double O's. And then you just had other players start showing up playing L Double O. So they are similar to they're similar to a Martin Double O, but they're a much smaller waist. So you can see like down here, like the waist is a lot tighter, and then the upper bout is less. Now these come in two different versions. There's a 14 fret and a 12 fret. I think this one is a 14 fret. This one's rosewood back and sides. But L Double O's are incredible guitars. They really shot up in value in the early 2000s. I was selling them when we would get them used at the Guitar and Amp Center where I worked. That's when they hit their stride around $5,000, $6,000. Sold a lot of them around $5,500. And you can find them, they're really diverse. You can find them, I've seen them in mahogany, I've seen them in rosewood, I've seen them in maple. I think the maple are the coolest as far as like that time period. I sold one. It was like a 39. It was maple and had a skunk stripe. And I've never seen another one like it. And according to like the Gruen book, that guitar didn't exist. But many things exist that books say don't exist. And you would just never know unless you see it in person. Sold that one to a guy here in the Shenandoah Valley. I'm pretty sure he still has it. I always think about these guitars that I sold years ago on the live show, and then I text people on Friday afternoons. Like, hey, you still have that guitar? Which some of them have worked out. I've found some cool old guitars. And I'm going to move this microphone just a little closer to me. But this guitar is super cool. Gold hardware. Things that I noticed that are really cool about this. It has this abalone. Boy, it's always so hard to point here. It has the abalone Gibson logo, which is really cool. I'm sure that's been done before. I'm sure it's not an unusual thing, but it's a very cool feature. I like how this guitar is like bold and very very ornate, but it's also very subtle. So it kind of walks the line really well between these two. I like the natural top. I love the sunburst. The only sunburst I really cannot get over how cool they are the really small late 30s kind of where it's like basically the size of a grapefruit is the burst and then everything else is dark. This is very cool. You can also see that this is the kind of guitar that Waterloo really pulled a ton of vibes from. Like you can see my Waterloo over here in the corner. And but man, this guitar is cool. I like the rosewood on the back and sides. I like the gold hardware. I like the lighter neck. I wish that this guitar was a 12 fret because I just prefer those because it is a smaller size, and to get more volume out of them, you would do really well to have a 12 fret. My favorite guitar I wish every single day that I would have bought, but I did not have the money and there was no chance I could buy it, was in the late summer of 2020. I put out a video. I did a review and a demo video for Huss and Dalton on their Crossroads 12, which is their take on an L Double O, and that was an incredible sounding guitar. That guitar, sheesh. I wish I would have bought it. I could have bought it. It sold like the minute my video went out. Somebody watched the video, called them, and bought it. But I just couldn't swing it. It was like $4,600 or something. But this guitar is really cool. For me, I would put this guitar in the high 8s. I would say that this guitar is like an 8.8. To me, it's just so capable. It could do so much. So, Terry, thanks for sending that. You might be on the video here, you might not. I don't know. But another one. There are some really cool Lefty collections that come out of here, and this is a really cool collection. So this is David Partials, and so there is it's an MIJ. It's a Japanese 62 reissue up here, which I have one of those over in the basement, over there in storage. I have one. The other guitars over here that are so cool. This is the only. What did he say? Actually, it's down at the bottom. I have to. Oh, it's covering up my name. But it says, this is the only Lefty in olive drab, the only Les Paul special that Gibson has ever made in the olive drab for the Les Paul special in a Lefty. So if you had enough qualifiers, you can be the best at anything in the world. This is the best I've ever had a live show on New Year's Eve 2021. But that's a really cool guitar. The other one is a Les Paul Custom, and he said that this is his, it's a 1987, this red Les Paul Custom in the middle on the bottom is a birth year guitar for him. I'm a 1987 as well. That's an interesting thing. Lots of people in their collection, they want a guitar from their birth year. And it's cool. I think you have to pick which guitar. Like if you wanted, depending on when you were born, depends on which guitars were the best at that time. I would say a late 80s Les Paul Custom in wine red from 1987. That's the perfect guitar for that year. I would love one of those as well. For years, I dreamed of having a Les Paul. I literally had a dream in which I had a Les Paul Custom, and it was this wine red color, and it had like a black paisley, but it was really subtle, and you could only see the paisley when you were close. And yeah, that would be awesome. So this collection is super cool. What I love is when guitar collections are representative of the person. So with this, like, I get the vibe this is going for. This is a really cool setup. There is just so much rock and roll in this setup. So for me, this is like not I wouldn't pick these guitars, but I totally get who you are and what you value and what you like about them. And so this is a solid 9 for me. Yeah, 9 even. Really cool. I love Les Paul Customs and that you double down on them. And specials are cool. Unusual colors are cool. That red Strat or that red Telly is so stinking cool. Let me come back over here. I'm going to turn this off and come back over here to the comments real quick. Yeah. So is the body deeper than an L Double O than a Martin Double O? It is. L Double O's are deeper. What's this one? My dad got the Washburn. My dad got the Washburn that was in the video for more than words. What? Oh, and it was by extreme. It was terrible. That is funny. That's really funny. Yeah. More than words, good. Because it's super quacky. Like it's a super quacky piezo pickup in there in that video. All right, I'm gonna come back over here. So what did I say? This one was a 9. That's a strong showing. Now this is Samuel Copeland's. He's probably in here. He goes by Slinging Strings on Instagram. Sam, this is we have such similar tastes. This is awesome. So this is okay. He sent me the details. I'm gonna go on what I remember and what I can see. So this guitar on the far left. That is an OM. There's black binding. That's a 21. No, that's an 18. So an OM 18 looks like, and I see this big cream-colored crescent inside the sound hole. So that looks like a full-blown LR Baggs Anthem. And so an OM 18 with an LR Baggs Anthem. And this has the ebony bridge, and it has the open gear tuner. So this is from 2012 until now. So this is an OM 18. This is a really, really great guitar. 1 3/4 nut would be on that guitar. So that'd be a super playable, super approachable. That pickup would be awesome for fingerstyle and for strumming. That guitar is that is a workhorse. Everyone could get the job done with that guitar. Now to the other side, this is a really cool and unusual Husson Dalton. This is a Husson Dalton Road Series. So this is the guitar that kept Husson Dalton alive during their time as during the turn down in 2008. they tooled up their business to build these guitars, and they are monsters. The only places in which they had to save money and save to bring the price down was through the finish. So this is a satin finish guitar, but still really cool guitars. I had an OM, one of the Road Series OMs. These are great guitars. If you can find these, they are definitely worth $2,500 up to $3,000. They're really, really good. Now on the other side, this is a Waterloo Humana. I love the white pickguard. I love that yellow two-tone sunburst. This is a 14 fret. So this is what, probably the WX, I'm assuming it's X-braced. This is the WX14 or WL14. I don't think it's a scissor tail. I don't know if you can tell those. But this is an incredibly cool guitar. And then over here, this is a J45 of some sort. Might be an older one. Humana. That's really cool. I like the burst on this. It's very red. That might also just be the camera. Now, Sam also has some others in here. Looks like an Epiphone Sheraton, a Les Paul, like a Mexican Standard, and then a Jazzmaster of some sort. And then Blues Junior NOS with the Jensen. I don't like the Jensen speakers, but ooh, hey. Sorry, I bumped the microphone. That volume pedal. The volume pedal with the tuner. I want one of those. I have the 40th anniversary, I think, the Ernie Ball VP. I love volume pedals on a pedal board. Just gives you a ton of control. If you need to be subtle, if you need to do swells. But that and a tuner always take up a lot of space. So this with a tuner, this is awesome. So let me come back here. I'm going to come back and review all of these. These four setup, I mean, this could not be more my vibe. This is the setup that I would want to have. This is the collection I would want to have. I mean, this is incredible. This is a 9.4. I don't know how this could get better. The only thing I would do a little different than this is I wouldn't do the Road Series. I would do another one that's something more along the lines of a TDM, a TDR, maybe a Triple O SP, but the OM. This is such a good duo, or a good quartet. This is a great, the electric setup is great. The Sheratons, they're cool for me. I don't love gold hardware. So on this whole setup, this seems like a killer. Like, you need to have a microphone in front of this. I don't think it would quite be loud enough to get a lot of the low end and the bass that you would have coming out of these guitars, the warmth coming out of these guitars, especially with the Jensen speaker in the Blues Junior. But I think that this duo would be killer. Yes, I just had a moment of panic of is that a Pro Junior because it looks small. But that's a Blues Junior, and I would be totally into this. This setup isn't quite my thing, but it's still a strong contender. You have a Flint on there on that pedal board, which that is my favorite pedal of the last 10 years. Maybe my favorite pedal ever is the Flint. That tremolo and reverb is so good, and I want one. I need to buy one. So anyway, I'll be right back. I'll go buy one. But this collection gets me. This is so good, Sam. So, Sam, I'm going to say your collection, man, is so strong. The first one is a 9.4. Then the other two, yeah, I just can't get over how good all of this stuff is. Yeah, on the electric stuff, I would give you a strong 8.8. I would like a Strat in there. Yeah. Philip says he wants I really want an ES-175. I really want a birthday, but my birthday is a Sunday. Oh, that's interesting because of that year. Man, that's a whole new level. If you're saying I want a birth year guitar built on my birthday, and then that during that year was on a Sunday, unless somebody's catching some overtime. Anyway. Daniel's walking around Brooklyn, and I just found an old K banjo on the roadside by the trash. No strings of bridge. What a day. Dude, that's awesome. That's a great find. I found a Vega Style 4 banjo. My wife found it in the trash. It was an actual alligator case in Louisiana when we lived there a couple years ago. She found one, and I put it back together, and I played it for about a year. It was a tenor. I really liked that thing, and then somebody who knows banjos really well and plays old-timey in New Orleans offered me $900 for it. So that was awesome. T-Mass says I do a lot of finger playing, and I move faster on this neck than any of my other guitars. That's awesome. This is a mahogany lover. Yeah, I'm a mahogany lover for sure. Yeah, I've got a Blues Junior. They do get super loud. They just don't have a ton of low end. If you would swap out that speaker, put in a creamback, put in even like a vintage 30 or a warehouse guitar speaker, just anything except the Jensen. The Jensen is just so mid-pushy and trebly that to me they get a little thin. They're not, because it's also a 10-inch speaker. Or is it? Are the NOS? I think I take that back. I think the NOS are 12-inch speakers, not 10s. Anyway, that's awesome. All right, super strong showing from Mr. Samuel. Here's the next one. Daniel Hurley. Good googly moogly. That's a lot of Taylors. All right, Daniel has a 2009 322 in that top left. That's a cool guitar. 12 fret, mahogany top, right? That's a fun size, really comfortable. V-class bracing, so I bet that thing has a ton of like bass and woof and mid-range. That would be a really great fingerstyle guitar. Then looks like a Taylor GS Mini, a mahogany one. That's very cool. I like those a lot. They still lack a little bit of low end, but they're still really fun. Oh, hey, there's a Sunburst. That's the, what do they call that? Whatever the Sunburst is in that. Yes, that's the 2021 Fender Acoustasonic Player. I have one of those right over here. This is kind of one of my most surprising guitars of the year that I really like. And so this one is the Acoustic Player as well. This one's in Arctic White, I think they call this color. Those, if you guys haven't played those, they're so fun. Of course, they're weird and they sound like a big giant acoustic guitar. They play like a Telecaster. If you put electric guitar strings on them, they sound much more, they affect much more of a Tele kind of sound. I found they don't sound as dark or rolled off. But what else do you have? Looks like a Squire Jazzmaster in there, a Godin Strat, an HSS Strat. Cue the people that ask me if I've ever played Godins. I've played plenty of Godins. I just don't like them. I don't like Seagulls. They're just not my thing. So instead of putting myself in the weird spot of publicly being too hard on things I don't like, I just don't talk about them. What's that? Is it an 814? 714. 714 V-Class bracing. That is awesome. Wait, you've sent me these pictures before. I've seen that 714. That's my favorite Taylor model, is the 714. And then is that a GA3 12-string? Hamana. I've been trying to buy a GA3 from my wife's cousin's husband, Dakota. Sell me your guitar. No, don't sell it to me. I'll play it for 3 months and then sell it to somebody else. So hang on to it. But I think that those are total sleepers. If you like Taylors, the GS and the GA are so good. So good. 12 strings are awesome. I think Taylor has a really special place in the 12-string world. That guitar also has a cedar top, probably mahogany back and sides. I don't think it says in here. But aftermarket pickup, good call. Instead of the expression system. Whew. My brain. This is a cool collection. This is also like, I can tell who you are by this and what you value. So this is probably someone that plays in a bigger band and they have some, like, Taylors sit in the mix in a way that other guitars sometimes battle and sometimes step on the toes of bass or, just around them. Or mandolin, like you're playing a 12-string, sometimes you're fighting with a mandolin in those shimmery, crispy high bits. But, man, this is a really cool collection. It would sound awesome. This, I have a hunch that this is somebody that plays in church, plays in a big worship band or just a worship band of some sort, maybe not a big one. But I'm into this collection. I wouldn't buy as many of these Taylors, but there are some in here that I really get and would love to like come over, hang out, and play. I'm going to put this one. This is a cool collection. This is like an 8.4. This is really in there. Anything above an 8 to me is like, I want to come over and play those guitars. So this is awesome. So the Blues Junior is a 12-inch, even the regular one. Really? The older ones were 10 inches. But my frame of reference is getting broader as I'm getting older. I know until the late 90s, early 2000s, they were 10-inch speakers, I thought. Someone gave me the Godin for free. Oh, Daniel, this is your collection. Daniel, this is awesome. I'm excited for you to do the course, too. Jeff has a Godin Classical, a Palvo. Met him before concert. How cool is that? That's awesome. Pro is a 10. Blues is a 12. Cool. Princeton's. That's what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of Princeton's. Hey, do you guys know each other? You should be on... Gabe, you should be on Philip's podcast. You guys should become friends because you have very similar kind of vibe and playing. You guys are awesome. You guys should know each other. Philip, Gabe is an old friend of mine. We grew up in the same town. We have a ton of the same friends, and we've been around guitars for a long time. And Gabe just started a YouTube channel. It's awesome. So, Mike, Insomnia Kid Monkey, you were in here earlier. I got to play this guild, and I love it. I love this guild. It is so cool, so good. And then there's just so much great stuff in this. So I'm going to lean in and look at this. Humana, what is that? An Epiphone, like a 59. That is so cool. That green on that Strat. That emeraldy jade green. A Tele Deluxe looks like a parts caster. I just can't see the logo on the headstock. And there's a Heritage. An H, was that a 555? 535? I bet that's a 535. I love that Sunburst, that two-tone. And then Humana an F55. Good Lord, that is so cool. Also, a volume pedal tuner. Are those good? Do you have any issues with them? How does the tuner work? When does the tuner work? Does it work just when you're turned all the way down? I just need to buy one and sell mine so I can I can clear up space and also just have a good tuner. A Pog. There's a bunch of pedals on there. Is that an El Capistan? Looks like it's not an H9. What is that? Oh man, cool pedal board. I like all this. Dude, this one gets my vibe. This one. The only thing is you don't have either of the quintessential, like the two guilds. Guilds are so cool and so unique because they don't sound like Martins, Taylors, or Gibsons. And so they just kind of do their own thing. And so with this, you have big, boomy, jangly with the F55. You have a cool, mid-pushed, jazzy kind of tone. Like that really tennis ball whoppy sound from the D25, D35. And, dude, this is a killer collection. The Les Paul, the humbucker tones, the single coil tones. This is freaking cover everything. The only thing that I can see that this doesn't quite cover is iconic Martin tone or short scale Gibson tone. So, because both of these are long scale acoustics. So to me, a 0018 or a J45, something that's a little more jangly, a little more folky sounding. But this thing gets my vibe. The green on that Strat. Humana. I wonder, Mike, are you in here? Let's see. Michael, Japanese Epiphone Les Paul. Dude, that's so cool. Sherwood green, yes. Great so far. I have Phyllis and Stanley on the volume. Dude, that's awesome. That is cool. What do I think of the Martin Modern Deluxe? I've only played two in person, and they are really, really good. Daniel's collection has one, so we'll talk about those here in a couple minutes when we get to Daniel. It's an F50R Rosewood back and sides. Oh my gosh, that's right. It's not an F55, because the F55 would be maple. This one is Rosewood. Humana. So this thing is probably super full, bassy, wonderful, bloomy. Man, what a collection. It is true. You need some P90s. Elliot loves that Heritage. It has, the less trem. That's really cool. Daniel says he's never found a tuner he trusted as much as going by the pitch pipe and ear. I find it hard to get a guitar in tune with itself. Yeah, so I think what you're talking, like you're used to like sweetened tuning, where it's like the guitar in tune with itself, more like a piano in tune with itself, but maybe a couple cents out here and there. The only time that's tricky is when you're playing with other people. But I'm with you. That green G&L. So it's a G&L. Dude, that is so good. So cool. Yes, that's not an El Cap. It's a Source Audio Ventris. Okay, yeah, it's tiny for me. And you're just seeing the top of my head when I do that. But, sheesh. Dude, this thing gets me. This thing is like strong 9s. This is like a 9.3. Like, dude, you could conquer the freaking world with this one. It is so good, and you should just be so proud. This is awesome. And thanks again so much for letting me borrow your D25, D35. I think you have a 25. The other one's a 35. This one sounds awesome. I also love the Sunburst. When it was here with me, the thing that got me, I found myself just like looking at it over and over, was like how it is this perfect kind of pear teardrop shape in the Sunburst. And that guitar is so cool. And the case is awesome that comes with that one. It has doesn't yours have like the silver Guild plastic logo? Dude, this thing's awesome. It's a 25. Yep. Man. Yeah. And Elliot loves the Gibson style headstock. Yep, me too. That is super cool. So yeah, 9, what did I say? 9.4? 9.3? Awesome. All right, the next collection comes from Andy Perez. He's another patron. He's a dear friend. He's wonderful. He is, he's in Tennessee and just a great player. And he's doing a great job raising up his boys. He's a couple boys in high school age, college age, that are just starting to love guitars and take over. So, holy cow. That blue is so great on that Gretsch in the bottom left. And there's Carina. I dreamed of a Carina Explorer when I was in high school, especially listening to Coheed and Cambria. I would love a Carina. Is that a divided by 13? I think is this amp. Oh man, that's a cool, like a great crunchy little combo. I think this is a parts Telecaster there. I see a jumbo of some sort. Oh, I don't know what that is. The bridge is funky. Pickguard's funky. That's a big boy with a big preamp. Maybe that's an Ibanez of some sort. Cool Fender Twin there. Is that an H? No. Line 6, like a stage, an XT stage or an XT Live on the ground, I think. I don't know. I don't know those too well. Then looks like an acoustic amp over there on the far right. A Les Paul of some sort. A good kind of faded lemony burst. A Taylor! Hey-oh! What's that? That's like a 314 or something? No, sorry. It's like a 714? 514? That is cool. I would bet that has V-class bracing. So you have a big active area of the top making a ton of noise. Jazz bass over there on the wall. In a cool seafoam. It's hard to tell what color that is. Probably a seafoam Strat over there. Dude, this is a cool collection. This is like a jam. Like, it's cool because this collection kind of lives in a room and you get the sense of like the space. And so this is a place where a couple people would play together. So this one, like, guitar collections, like, gather people. Sometimes good, meaningful guitar collections gather people together. So this is super cool. I wonder if, Andy, are you in here? Rasmus! You said you weren't going to make it, but you're here. All right, man. Dude, I'm glad you're hanging out. And Jacques? I don't know how to say your name, but I'm glad you're here, man. First time. Yes, I'm glad you're here, man. Hey, what time is it there for you? Is it the new year yet? It's not the new year yet, but I bet it's like 8 o'clock or like 7:50 for you. Are you 5 hours or 6 hours ahead of me? Anyway, I'm glad you're here. We were talking about L Double O's. Everybody go follow Rasmus. He's building an L Double O, and it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I also have some stuff. Meaningful collections. I'm still writing that term. You should, man. Hey, I need to send you the course, and you can check out the part about collections. Because that's the thing. Like, I wax philosophical in the course, and I give really specific framework for how to build a meaningful guitar collection that is representative of you. The way I describe meaningful guitar collections is if I died and my wife had to have somebody come and sell my guitar collection for me, that person selling my guitar collection would know who I am and what I value. Like, they would know what I like to play, how I would play, and what I believed about the world. Which is, like, for my collection, you would see someone who I really value place. I really value Virginia. So there's a bunch of Virginia guitars that are in here. I really value craftsmanship and history. You would see guitars that are iconically tied to history. And so anyway, to develop a meaningful guitar collection is to have a collection that is representative of you, that shows your values, your commitment, and and what you want to offer the musical situations that you would find yourself in. So anyway, if you're interested in that, check out the course. That is the best way to get your head around that stuff. 2050. Oh, all right, so 1050. That's awesome. Oh, you're 8 hours ahead of me. All right. Badura says, I just had a question in mind. Since an all mahogany guitar exists already, what would an all rosewood guitar sound like? That's a good question. Rosewood Telecaster. It would be super heavy. An all rosewood guitar. That's interesting. I don't know. Years ago, I saw Larrivee made some guitars that were striped. They were like sapwood, rosewood on the top. And Tacoma made a couple. Phil, do you know? You know some Tacoma. No, you have a Larrivee, not a Tacoma. But yeah, that's awesome. That's a good question. I don't know. That'd be a good question. I'll ask Ben Padgett that next time I see him. And yeah. Oh, this one back here. This is my new, it's a 258E. So this is an 8-string baritone from Guild. That just showed up last week or 2 weeks ago. Yeah. What's this Guild over my shoulder? Yeah, BT8. It's a BT258E Deluxe. So let me grab it and I'll show it to you. It has freaked out a bit, so I have to... The action is real. So it's rosewood laminate back and sides, Sitka spruce top. It's an 8-string, and so. Yeah, the truss rod is very tight. If I play it hard at all, it'll buzz. Anyway, very cool guitar. I just have to, I might have to shim the saddle and take some tension off the truss rod. But I'm just letting it kind of acclimate because it just showed up here last week. This guitar, due to I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but the supply chain has been a little funky. So anyway, so that guitar sat in the Long Beach, in a storage container in Long Beach Harbor for 3 months. I was waiting for that guitar. But yeah, it sounds awesome. I just need to get it up a little bit because the strings are so loose because it's tuned to B standard. And so it just needs to have a little more action to it. But very cool guitar. Yeah, I'm talking about rosewood. So yeah, supposedly rosewood is too heavy and dense for a guitar top. That's what I would assume, which I think is why some of those sappy tops. It's the same reason you don't see much maple on the top of guitars. They just don't sound very good. You need a soft wood. You need a soft and light wood on the top, which is why this Showalter I played at the beginning, Sycamore, is kind of lives in the middle. It's kind of like mahogany. It could work on the top, but yeah. So anyway, let's keep cruising. So the next collection, there's another amazing collection of lefties. This is shocking to the senses, jarring to the sensibilities. Far left, Guild D4NT. This is a Waverly. This is a really great. These are fun sleepers. They're not super expensive. You can still find them under $1,000. All satin, but usually all. I think these are all solid. NT stands for natural top. This is a Lefty. All these guitars are Lefty. Then from left to right, a Husson Dalton OSP. This is their parlor size guitar. Look how white the top on that guitar is. That's a really, really great guitar. I would bet that's red spruce. Usually the red spruce that Husson Dalton uses without any aging toner is like white like a sheet of paper. That's how my DRH custom was a few years ago. Beside that is an Eastman ACTG2ELOV. So that's Avant-Call back and sides. That's a cool guitar. I haven't played many Eastmans, but there are two in here that are really worth talking about. The next one is, oh my gosh, this is a great guitar. Talking about mahogany guitars, talking about blues guitars, guitars that are particularly bound to a really specific moment in history, but are still just a great guitar. This third guitar in here is the mahogany top. This is a Santa Cruz 1929 Triple O. Really, really cool guitar. This is kind of their take on a Martin, a Triple O 15 or a Triple O 17. This would have been a 17 at that point. Next to that is a Taylor 714 CE. Again, my favorite combination of guitars. This one looks like a Sitka top. I love these with a cedar top and then rosewood back and sides. Next to that, Eastman is an E10. This is one of the Varnish. So this is a really great guitar. These are pretty expensive, $1,500-$1,600. They sound killer. They're kind of the best option if you're looking for a J45 but can't swing it. These are pretty awesome. Next to that is a Boucher BG52, a Bluegrass Goose. This is awesome. I would love to own a Boucher. They've been great partners to the channel. They've been very kind to me over the last year, and that'd be awesome. Oh, man! Here's a Husson Dalton, and I think it's just the distortion from the camera over on the side. It looks like a Dreadnought. But that's a TOM. So a traditional OM. That's awesome. And really wonderful guitar. That's Husson Dalton, made 30 minutes from me. Dude, if I was left-handed, this would be a guitar collection that I would want to be at your house playing all the time. This one is incredible. So this is Ryan. Ryan, dude, freaking insane. This collection here, I'm going to say that collection is like a 9.3. It's just so good. I didn't realize how many high scores I'd be giving out today. This is an incredible. You should be so proud of this collection. I think, yeah, Ryan, there are a couple more here. Okay, yeah, so this is close-up of the Husson Dalton, the Eastman, and the Santa Cruz. Sheesh, 9.3 for sure. Good, googly, moogly. Tom, hey buddy, Happy New Year. Avant-Call is similar to Rosewood, just lighter and less dense. That's what my, over here. This Taylor AD17 is Avant-Call back and sides. It definitely sounds like warm and bassy. It's a great, totally crazy Lefty collection. Also, yeah, there's two. There's two amazing Lefty collections in here. Yep. Jim says, love mine. That's awesome. All right, so now I think we're now getting into Daniel's, which Daniel's collection, I couldn't put all of it in here, but this is the most I could pack in. Daniel said he's just walking around Brooklyn right now. But this is an AD27. This is the Israel, what's his name, the Hawaiian guy, his mandolin, or his ukulele. This is the Modern Deluxe 18, a Maton Mini, and a Gibson L Double O. This is such a powerful collection. And what I love is Daniel's a good friend of mine, and I really, when I see these, I get it. I get him, and I get how he plays and what he likes and what he wants to hear in guitars, and it's so cool. He is just an aficionado, and is just really on an exciting guitar journey. And there's no way to see this collection and not get some inkling into who he is and what he values. And so I love the AD17. It's really cool. I love the African mahogany. That's super stripy on the far left. I love the quilted mahogany. in the ukulele. The Modern Deluxes, I'll turn this off so I can talk about the Modern Deluxes. The Modern Deluxes are amazing because the problem for most Martins is that they're bound to so much tradition, and they're bound to a certain type of player. And so with those, they don't ever really get to change. Like even, it's like Apple. Apple just launched all these new, the M1 laptops and all these computers. And what's interesting is like they had to walk back a whole bunch of things. They had to bring in like, instead of all USB-C ports, they had to bring back like a card reader and all these other things. And they went back to a MagSafe charger. And so what's interesting is for them to move forward, they had to move backwards. The same thing is true with Martin. Like they reimagined the D18s in 2012. And when they did, they're like, we're moving forward by doing vintage-style tuners and a vintage-style logo and a vintage-looking finish. And so to move forward is to move backwards. So what's cool about the Modern Deluxes, like this one in the middle, is that you get to keep the concept, the idea of this guitar, but you get to move it into new playability, new features, some gold hardware, some fancier logos. You get to just be modern and be fancy. Like the Modern Deluxe is the new flagship. So this is awesome. I think they're cool guitars. This is a great guitar collection. Maton Mini, which the Maton Mini, they sound amazing plugged in, but they're a little lacking in mids and bass when you hear them in person. But he got a great deal on this one used, and so that's why it works really well for him. I know he's told me that he travels with this guitar a lot. And then this L Double O, which is a wonderful guitar. This is a newer one. I forget the specs on it, but it came from Carter Vintage. You can see the T-shirt there. Also, the next one, these are his electrics, or some of his electrics. There's looks like a Les Paul Faded. There's a Nashville Telly. There is a Gibson Lucille. Gibson Lucille's are awesome. My only issue is just the stereo. Having to live with a stereo guitar in a mono world just means that you're always running a Y cable, which that's fine, but Y cable, then you have two signal paths and you have to figure it out. The classical is awesome. Is this a Cordoba? It is. Everybody needs to have a Cordoba. Everyone needs to have a classical. I don't have a classical. I do. Here's a fun fact. I own like 4 classicals. They're all broken and like haven't been fixed yet, but they're in my basement. Anyway, they're coming. And then a Washburn over here. I like this style of the sound hole not having finish on it and the rest of it being black. In college, one of my roommates had a Washburn like that. I think this is a D12. My buddy Matt had a D12. I just started working at a guitar shop, and he was like, hey, can you take my guitar to work today and put a strap button on it? And I was like, sure. And I went in, and I got the drill, and I drilled a hole, and then I put the screw in, and then I flipped the guitar over, and I realized I had put the strap button on the top side of the neck. And I just got turned around and confused. And it was one of the most embarrassing moments of my young college life. And, yeah. No PRS, love? That is funny. I think my phone's ringing. Who's calling me? Someone's calling me. It's my wife. And it's my anniversary, so I'm going to have to go here soon. But no PRS, love. That is interesting. There is a PRS coming from Mr. Gear Man himself. Yeah. So Daniel says, I'm currently viewing my MacBook using only USB-C ports. Yeah, me too. Freaking dongle world. Yeah, dongle. I have 3 dongles. So that's also a word I could do without. There are certain words that I'm just over. Dongle, moist. Yeah. Those are the ones that get me. But yeah. Would a 2mm pickguard dull or affect AF? Yeah, I would say 2mm pickguards. I mean, pickguards typically they're gonna change the volume by about 3 decibels is the general rule of thumb. And here's the thing: noise is logarithmic, the way that we measure it. So every 3 decibels, it's a 3 decibel exchange rate. So that means every 3 decibels, the guitar is actually twice as loud. So it's like the energy output is doubled every 3 decibels. So do you want a guitar that's half as loud? Put a pickguard on it. But anyway, it definitely is true. There's one of the Shenandoah back here. No, the Showalter guitar back behind me is definitely louder. And I just put out a video on the Ferk guitars over here. And it's interesting, the ones with pick guards or the ones without, I had to adjust the volume on the mic because they were just louder and they were clipping. So anyway, yeah, some of those early to mid 2000s Les Paul Wine Studios were great guitars. Dude, what's the one that the Smartwood that our buddy Chad had? I love that guitar. I think he still has it. Did you ever play with Chad Altenberger? He played in that band Yours for Mine, and he had a Smartwood Les Paul Studio that was so cool. And Chambered Ash, that's what his was. Yeah. Yeah, I do. I use humidification. I don't know. That word just grosses me out. All right. Let's see what else we got. Now we're just going. Oh, I didn't rate Daniel's. So, Daniel, on these, it's such an eclectic. And knowing Daniel, oh, man. If Daniel told me, it's just such a funny. We got together for the Philly Guitar Show. And Daniel was like, I was like, what? Tell me about your childhood. What are you, where'd you come from? He's like, I have a pretty normal story. I grew up in Pakistan, moved to Pennsylvania, then I moved to southern Alabama, and I grew up Islam, and then I became Catholic. Kind of that classic story. It's like, Daniel, that's such a weird, it's just, he has such an amazing, eclectic, like, diverse experience of life. And where for me, it's like, I'm not nearly, I've had plenty of eclectic experiences, but with Daniel, it's just so funny hearing that. So knowing Daniel, seeing this guitar collection, I can see how they work back and forth. Like, this is a really eclectic mix. Like, this is a weird collection of guitars, but what's so cool is, like, they cover every possible permutation of what he would want to create, what he would want to put out into the world, what he would want to have, like, in his family life. And I get it. This is a cool collection. I'm going to give it, like, a 9.1. Because this is, like, there's some really cool stuff. I think between the L Double O, the Modern Deluxe, the ukulele, the Les Paul, I mean, you could cover anything and everything you'd want to do. So anyway. So, yeah, okay, that's right. That's right. Yeah, he was in the band The Beautiful Refrain with you. Oh, two of you boys in here. That's funny. Chad's guitar, John Woods. This is so funny. This is a good collection of, like, the Captain T's, the who's who of Captain T's, which was a redneck pirate themed ball pit, like, arcade that we built a stage in and would host shows. And this is such a fun collection of people from my past. All right, so this one is Dave Vanzensvoort. Oh, wow. Vanzensvoort. This is a really cool collection. There's Les Paul, or there's a Hummingbird Custom top right. Looks like a Takamine. There's a Gibson G45, I think. There's a D18 up there. There's a gold. There's a gold Telecaster, Shoreline gold Telecaster. Dude, this one's awesome. This is like straight up Americana. This one gets my vibe. This is like, this is another 9.1. I can do everything I want to do musically with that collection. That's awesome. And now, here's a Nobles Instrumento. And this is awesome. I also appreciate, and we need to talk about, these are put into the guitar, rack correctly. They're not backwards. And, yeah. See, look, the straps are on these. People aren't tripping. You can still plug them in if you want. Just a bunch of babies. I feel like I've probably said that as much as I can say it. Because now, like, bigger accounts, like Robert Baker keeps talking about, he'll tag me, and then when he puts them in backwards. And but anyway, this is a super cool collection. This is a Fano with, are those Firebird or Mini Hums? This is a Duosonic. Is that an Exotic? I think that's an Exotic brand. Elliott guitars. Oh, it's an Elliott. And then a Fender thin line. A Modern Player thin line. Oh, cool, with more Mini Hums. Then there's an Epiphone Les Paul back there. And then a Fano bass. You seen this Fano bass? What's the word with your Novo bass, Philip? Dude, this one's awesome. There's a vibe. There's a through line here with those Mini Hums some shorter scale guitars, some semi-hollows. There's a tremolo there. I mean, this one is incredibly capable. And, like, this is a rock and roll setup. This with, like, a Friedman or, like, a cool amp. I mean, this would be Americana, rock and roll, cool stuff. And I get this one for sure. This is like an 8.9 for me. The two Fanos is awesome. I love Fano guitars. I remember seeing the first time I ever saw an SP6, and it blew my mind. Like, that is such a cool guitar that did not exist. What is it? And I just wanted to play it and wanted to know more about what it was. That was awesome. All right. A Guild New Year. Oh, boy. Tayin now, Fai, Paisley. Party time. Party time in Scotland. It's a Dutch one, ain't it? Yes, that's the Elliott 357. James Duke Sig. Cool, I don't know much about those. That guy's a worship guitar player for sure. Yeah, that's what it looks like. I still haven't announced them yet. We're talking about the Novo basses. They were waiting on parts. According to their podcast, they still have about 10 available for immediate purchase, and then they'll take orders. That's awesome. What? Jonathan has an SP6 coming. Dude, can I come hang out? Are you in, like, where are you? You're in Arizona now? Anyway, dude, that's awesome. All right, let's kick through here. We did this one. Hang on one second. Oh, guys, I gotta go. There's a car wreck outside. So, I gotta go, and I'll see you guys later. Have a great Happy New Year. Last things, let me close out my very last thoughts. I'm sorry I have to skip to the very end, my wife just said. But if you look at your guitar collection and you feel like, oh man, I wish I would have made some momentum, some traction, some progress this year, and you didn't, pretty much all of these are normal guitar players like you and me who are not rich, but they are clever. And so as they've been clever, they've been able to get guitars that are meaningful to them and representative to them, and they help them better experience the guitar playing life and just life in general. So if you want to do that, and if you have benefited from the videos that I've made and you've gotten to watch these things for free, one of the ways you can support me and my family is to buy merch in the store. You can also buy the course. This is the best tool I have ever made to help you buy the right guitars. So anyway, check this out. I got to run, but have a great Happy New Year. I'm thankful for every one of you. This has been an amazing time today and throughout this year. I'm so thankful that I get to do this for my job, and I love seeing people build amazing guitar collections because I feel like I've gotten to know people through just seeing the guitars that they have. So anyway, all right, Jonathan in Phoenix. All right, Happy New Year, everybody. Daniel, send me your info. You won the course for free. Everybody have a great and Happy New Year. You all are wonderful. Bye. See you later.